G'day. In this video, we're going to discuss the Temporary Graduate Visa Subclass 485 Graduate Workstream. Before we start, I'd like to ask you if you could please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and share this video so it can help as many people as possible. Okay, let's begin. So let's, as promised in the previous video, we're going to do all the streams of the Temporary Graduate Visa. The first one we're going to do is the Graduate Workstream. So we'll quickly just do a overview, which we covered already, but we'll just do it very quickly. This visa is for international students who have recently graduated with skills and qualifications that are relevant to specific occupations Australia needs. It lets you live, study, and work in Australia temporarily. Okay? You usually stay up to 18 months, but right now, it's temporarily increased to 24 months from visas granted from the 1st of December 2021, and Hong Kong British National Overseas Passport holders may stay for 5 years. Cost is Australian dollars 1,730. The processing times are here. We'll discuss processing times more in the next tab as well. You can live, study and work in Australia temporarily on this visa, and you can bring your family members with you. You must be under 50 years of age when you apply for the visa, hold an eligible visa, have held a student visa in the last 6 months, have a qualification relevant to an occupation on the skilled occupation list. Again, this has been relaxed until the 30th of June 2023. So from the 1st of July 2022 to the 30th of June 2023, you do not need to meet the qualification requirement, but after that date, you will need to. So we will assume for future that the applicants will need that. Okay, have applied for a skills assessment in your nominated occupation list. Okay, provide evidence of health insurance when you apply. Provide evidence you have applied for Australian Federal Police check, and provide evidence of the required level of English with your application. Okay, so that's the overview. Now let's go through this visa in more detail. Okay, so with this visa, you can stay usually up to 18 months, but temporarily up to 24 months from the 1st of December 2021. You can travel, work, or study in Australia during your stay. However, you must find your own employment. If we grant this visa, we are not responsible for arranging employment. So the department obviously will not find employment for you. How long can you stay? Again, quite a little bit repetitive, 18 months, temporarily increased to 24 months from this date. Okay, British and Hong Kong passport holders, British National Overseas Passport holders and Hong Kong passport holders may stay up to 5 years. It's a multiple entry visa, so you can leave and enter as many times as you want while the visa is still valid. Visa starts on the date we grant the visa, and changes to passport holders from Hong Kong. You can read that section. Stay longer. You can't extend the visa, so if you want to stay longer, you'll need to apply for other skilled or work visas, or a onshore tourist visa if you just need to pack up your things and leave. Okay. So this is for temporary graduate visa holders from Hong Kong. They will have a pathway to permanent residency after 5 years. So that's just the Australian government way of giving the bird to the Chinese government for what's happening in Hong Kong. Okay, you can include members of the family unit in your application. Family members meet their own health and character requirements. This is important, you can add children to the application until a decision is made on your application. However, you can't add any other family members to your application during the application period. Your family can apply to join you after the visa is granted under a subsequent entry visa, and then you've got to click on the links if that is the case for you. Okay, and the cost of this visa is Australian 1,730 for the primary applicant, There's also a charge for each family member who applies for the visa with you. The subsequent entrants also pay their visa, the full visa application charge. So it's cheaper if you apply initially altogether. After that, any other subsequent entrants will also pay the full 1,730. You may also have to pay other costs for health checks and police certificates and biometrics. To work out the charge, you can use the visa pricing estimator link. Okay, the 485 visa is exempt from the subsequent temporary application charge, which is the stack. It's because you are most likely forced to apply from onshore. Okay, so as I mentioned, you normally need to be inside Australia, but not in immigration clearance when you apply. But that has been temporary. But if you've been impacted by COVID-19, you can prove it, and then you may be able to apply from outside Australia and be granted the visa outside Australia. The subsequent entrants can obviously be outside Australia or inside Australia when they apply for the visa or when they are granted the visa. Okay, as I mentioned in the previous tab, I was going to discuss the processing times. So these are the processing times. If you are in Australia and you've just graduated, you would not want the visa to be granted as soon as possible. That's the reason there is you want to be in the 90% of applications which are granted within 17 months. The reason for that is once you've applied for your 485 visa, you're granted a bridging visa. So you stay on a bridging visa. You can still work, and while you wait for your 485 visa. Once the 485 visa is granted, say after 17 months, if you're very lucky, the 2 years or the 24 months will apply from that date. So basically, you've your 24 months plus 17 months is how long you're going to be in Australia. So you've got all that time to get your work experience in Australia and basically get as many points as possible. So when you've applied for the visa, unless you have a very good reason, I wouldn't be too worried about how long it takes for them to finalize your visa application. Actually, the longer the better, because you have more time to remain in Australia and work and build up your points and your work experience, or your study points, or work on your English level requirements for your permanent visa application or your skilled visa application. Okay, so that's just a little tip there. Yep, so here it just says what will make the application take longer. Your obligations, you must obviously not lie on your application. You can travel in and out of Australia and return as many times as you like while your visa is valid, but however, any time you spend outside Australia will be taken away from the visa period. So it would be detrimental if you're trying to build points or accumulate points for your visa, but then you spend 3 months outside Australia, 6 months time outside Australia, because that just means that you have less time to work and get work experience. Okay, there's no more visa labels. Okay, so that's the About This Visa tab. Let's now look at the Eligibility tab. Okay, be under the age of 50 when you apply for the visa. This section is basically a little bit longer now because of COVID, but eligible prospective visa applicants can make their visa application outside Australia during the concession period and be granted the visa while they're outside Australia. So that is if you were impacted by the COVID-19 travel restrictions. You can click on this link at your own leisure if you believe you are in that scenario. But in the future, when COVID is long gone, that will not be the case. Okay. Okay, and it says here, we will only process your visa application if you are the main holder of a current student visa, but not a defense or foreign affairs or trade minister student visa. So basically, you can apply for the 485 visa towards the end of your student visa, so you can still hold a student visa, current student visa, and still apply for the 485. Or you must have held a student visa within the past 6 months before your application and have a bridging visa A or B granted on the basis of a valid application for a visa. So, for example, your student visa has ceased. You've applied for a student visa. You got a subject here or there that you've waiting on. You still haven't got your graduation certificate, and you've applied for, say, a tourist visa. So you're holding a bridging visa A or B, and then you've received, you finalized and you've received your graduation certificate, but you're still holding a bridging visa A or B, but then you can still apply for the 485. Or the next scenario is you've held in the last 6 months, so and you now hold a substantive visa. So basically what this is saying, so you've applied for a tourist visa, you were on a bridging visa A, they granted your tourist visa, you don't hold a bridging visa anymore, you hold a substantive visa, which is, say, a subclass 600, but it's still within the last 6 months that you've held a student visa, so then you can apply for the 485 visa. And then again, this is for the COVID, you are outside Australia and you've held a student eligible visa, but not a defense visa. So yeah, any foreign affairs or defense student visas that are sponsored by defense or foreign affairs, you can't apply for the 485 visa. It's not eligible. Okay, let's continue. To be eligible for this visa, you must have completed your course in the 6 months immediately before the day you apply. And we can't grant this visa if you have previously been granted a subclass 485 or a 476 as a primary visa holder. So that means, say, for example, you do a diploma, apply for a 485, you do your 18 months to 24 months, then you get a bachelor's degree, then you can't apply for the 485 again. It's just once in a lifetime. Okay, you must meet the Australian study requirement. So you can in the past 6 months you need to apply and meet this. You will need to meet this if you are awarded at least one degree, diploma, or trade qualification. Okay, I will, once we get past this, I will discuss a little bit in more details about if you have just graduated from a degree in the last 6 months, what stream is more beneficial. Okay, but let's continue. Your course was a CRI-COS registered course, so this is what you need to meet the Australian requirement. You successfully completed all course requirements. Your study was in English. You completed the course as a result of at least 2 academic years, which is 92 weeks of study. You've completed your course in Australia in not less than 16 calendar months. So the course needs to be at least 92 weeks of study. So that's that. But if you have accelerated the course, it cannot be less than 16 calendar months. So it's not beneficial for you to complete the course earlier than 16 calendar months, because then you won't qualify for the Australian study requirement. Okay, and you have held an Australian visa that allowed you to study. Okay, when applying for this stream of the 405, the course or courses must have resulted in a degree, diploma, or trade qualification. So for example, you could have done a certificate 3, 4, then a diploma, and that all was done within 2 academic years, at least, or 3, but at least 2. You can then use all those as the Australian study requirement qualifications for this stream of the 485. Okay, you can use more than one course. Yeah, so that's what I just mentioned. So you can use whatever courses that you've studied together and bundle them up to meet the nominated Australian requirement, but each course must be related. So yeah, plumbing, IT. It can't be all over the place, like nursing, IT, and all that stuff. Okay, let's move on. And the next requirement is have the skills and qualifications that Australia needs. Okay, right now, the time of recording this, it's the 1st of October 2022. However, yes, so from the 1st of July 2022 to the 30th of June 2023, this skills requirement has been relaxed. But from the 1st of July 2023, you will need to nominate one occupation on the medium and long-term strategic skills list. So you need to click on that to see if your degree, diploma, or trade qualification is on that list. Okay, and so whatever you nominate, obviously your degree, diploma, or trade qualification has to be related to that occupation and be assessed by a relevant assessing body or authority as having the skills suitable for that occupation. Now, you will see that if you have a degree here, you can obviously apply under this stream, which is the what's it called, the graduate work stream. But under the post-study work stream, you can still stay for 2 years under a degree anyway. You don't need to do your IELTS or a skilled occupation. So unless you have a very good reason for doing so, the next stream that we're going to talk about is more beneficial for you because it has less requirements. Okay, all right, so you must nominate the occupation when you apply, or we can't process the application. You can't change the occupation you nominate after you apply, so make sure you choose the relevant one for the study that you've undertaken. The qualification must be closely related. Yep, so that's what I just mentioned. Okay, here's our example. So you nominate physiotherapist as your skilled occupation, and the degree you've studied in Australia is physiotherapy. Okay, so physiotherapy, obviously. You've nominated air conditioning and mechanical services plumber in the skilled occupation list, and you've got a certificate 3 in plumbing and a diploma of plumbing and services in Australia. So again, they're both related. So not acceptable is a combination. For example, you've nominated occupation of registered nurse, but you've completed a Bachelor of Commerce, so they're not related. Okay. Additionally, your skills must be assessed by the relevant assessing authority as suitable for the nominated occupations. For example, if you've nominated speech pathologist, the authority you must get an assessment from is Speech Pathology Australia. Maybe I need a speech pathologist. Okay. If your skills are assessed on the basis of the qualification you got in Australia, and you held a student visa, the qualification must be from studying a course that's registered on CRICOS. Okay. You must provide evidence when you apply that you have at least applied for the skills assessment, or we cannot process your visa application. So that's very important. You can't apply and then later do the skills assessment. You need to have at least applied for the skills assessment at the minimum and be waiting for a result, or already have the result. Okay. It is your responsibility to arrange the skills assessment and contact the relevant assessing authority before you apply for this visa, because each assessing authority has its own assessment procedures, timeframes, and charges. And there's more information on before you apply. But basically, when you click on this link, next to every occupation, there is the link. External link to the assessing authority, which then you can click on and see their requirements. Okay, some authorities may provide assessments that are valid for a set period. It is your responsibility to check that the period is not expired by the time we make a decision. If there is no set period, then you must have obtained the assessment within the last 3 years. Okay. This is the English language requirement for people that are not from the UK, USA, Canada, or New Zealand, or Ireland. Okay, so you need to read this section at your own leisure of what you need for your English language requirement. So as I mentioned earlier, if you've got a degree, you'll see that you don't need a health assessment or IELTS if you apply for the post-study work stream. Okay, so that's more beneficial in my opinion, but unless you have a very good reason to do so, you can apply for this stream if you want to. Okay, so that was the English language requirement. Health insurance, you will need to arrange and provide proof of health insurance. If you are applying while you're still on a student visa, you need to you can still attach your overseas student's health cover. However, once your student visa expires, you then need to, go click on this link and find adequate health insurance and attach it, because they're not going to grant the visa until you have the proper health insurance that is listed in this section. So go in there and check what you'll need. But if you're in a hurry and you don't have much time and you're still holding the student visa, you can attach your overseas student visa health cover at the time of application, but then when your visa expires, you need to attach the correct, obviously the correct insurance document. Okay, you'll need to meet the health requirements. So if it's been more than 12 months since you've done your last health assessment and you needed the health assessment as part of your student visa, then you'll need to arrange another health assessment as well. As I mentioned in the overview, if you've been in Australia for more than 12 months in the last 10 years, you'll need to provide the Australian Federal Police check. You can just click on the character requirement tab and then follow the instructions for the Australian Federal Police check. Sign the Australian value statement, so that's mandatory at the end of the online visa application. If you have any debt to the Australian government, you'll need to pay that back before they can finalize your application, and not have a visa cancelled or a previous application refused. And if you have, you can just check this information, that link, for more information. So that's the eligibility tab. Let's have a look at the final tab. I'm not going to go through that when you have this visa tab. You can go through that with at your own leisure, but everyone knows once you've got a visa, you've got a visa, and you can just leave and enter and blah blah blah. Okay, so before you apply, very important, you need to make sure you have a valid passport. Check your visa conditions, that there's no further stay conditions. If there are, just read the instructions here, and you need to have that waived. Okay, I will make a video later about no further stay conditions and waiving them, etc. Okay, you will need to organize health exams. You can organize, so if you know your health exams have been more than 12 months and have expired, you can click on this link and organize your health assessments before you apply for the visa, if you want to speed it up. But however, as I mentioned, it's in your best interest if the visa takes as long as possible. So it's better once you apply, and then they give you another 28 days to do your health assessment. Get help with your application. So yeah, that's for migration agents. If you want to pay for one, it's up to you, but I don't think you need it. It's not that hard. Arrange a skills assessment. Again, remember they said that you need to at least prove that you've started the process for the skills assessment. So this is the area where you need to check out how to arrange that. So so that's these two tabs. Just click on these links. They're relevant. So is the on the list, that the skilled occupation list, as I said, will have a link to the external authorizing or assessment body. Okay. So yeah, this is, that's here. It just says more information about organizing assessments, how long they're valid for, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that was before you apply. Gathering your documents, so identity documents, evidence of valid passport, valid degrees, diplomas, trade certificates, etc. You need to attach your IELTS results, your skills assessment results, health insurance results, your AFP certificate, a 956 form if you're using a migration agent, proof of relationship with the rest of your family members if you're applying for the whole family. If the kids are coming and the mum is not, so dependents under 18, you will need to do the 1229 form for, and then prepare all those documents and attach them together with the application. Okay, so that's that. So prepare your documents and attach them as I mentioned. Sorry, this video has been going on for quite long, so we're almost there. We've finished. So that's your step 2. Step 3 is apply for the visa. So you apply through your online IMI account. Okay, so you can read more information there. So if you've probably done it for your student visa through your EMI account, you can use the same EMI account if you have never used it or someone else did it for you. So you can just read the information there. When you submit your application, you must attach successful evidence of successful course completion, evidence of required level of English. Any applicants that are over the age of 16 need to have applied for a AFP check or have got one completed and attached it to the application. I don't think they take more than 14 days, maximum 28 days. Evidence of adequate health insurance for all applicants, and you have provided evidence that you've applied for a skills assessment. So yeah, repeating that again, it's very important to do that, and that makes your application decision ready. Okay, after you apply, you just basically wait for the application. You will most likely then be your bridging visa will come into effect after your student visa expires or your tourist visa expires, if you're applying from holding a tourist visa. If you want a status update, see how. If you want to travel while you're waiting for the application outcome, this is again, see how. If you're asked to do a health assessment, then obviously after you apply, do the health assessment. They give you 28 days to do so. If you want to attach more information, see how. Stay lawful, see how. Add family members while your visa is being processed, see how. Any mistakes with your application, tell them about it, see how. Help with your application. So if you want to add a migration agent or you are using anyone else's help, see how you need to attach forms 956 or 956A, and any changes in circumstances during your application while your application is processed, see information there. Okay, so that is after you apply. Visa outcome, which is the last step, which is the easiest step. You just get the visa and it will tell you whatever your conditions are and the length of the visa and blah blah blah. So that's it. Now that's the overview of the graduate work stream. I hope you have liked this video. I'm sorry it was quite long, but I hope you found it beneficial and hopeful that it makes things easier for you. If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. You subscribing to the channel and liking the video will tell YouTube that it has helped you, and then they will recommend this video to more people, and it can help more people that see this video. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video where we will discuss the post-study work stream. Have a good day. Bye-bye.